During the summer of 2022, Amtrak began introducing their new Siemens Venture coaches on the Wolverine, Michigan service. The new trains had already been rolled out in other Midwest states for several months and were in high demand as Amtrak faced major equipment shortages, leading to reduced service and train cancellations. These shortages were brought on by the delayed introduction of the new Siemens coaches, which were supposed to be deployed months prior. However, due to issues with the plumbing on the new cars, Amtrak had to stretch its scarce, aging fleet thin. Even after the cars were ready for passenger service, delivery and rollout delays meant Amtrak had to find creative ways to keep their trains moving. For instance, Amtrak Wolverine number 355 is seen here with a short, 3-car set of new venture cars, and a Michigan rarity, a baggage car used solely for its extra axles. You see, the route the Wolverine traverses requires a minimum axle count for the signaling system to work properly while trains are at speed. With a lack of available passenger equipment to meet the required axle count, Amtrak's solution is to tow empty baggage cars to meet the minimum count and ultimately prevent cancellations. This is obviously a pretty silly solution that's dependent on available baggage cars needed on other routes. To get around this issue, Michigan saw an unusual visitor during February of this year. An EMD F59 PHI from California was sent to Pontiac to be used as a test subject for a new device intended to remove the minimum axle count requirement. Time will tell if the results were successful, but it was certainly interesting to catch this EMD so far from home. Not only did the new Siemens cars face a slow introduction, but the trains are also plagued with teething problems. Issues with the handrails breaking during boarding meant it wasn't safe for passengers to board via the venture cars, forcing Amtrak to use up more of its legacy fleet so trains had enough doors for adequate boarding. Countless other issues continue to plague the new cars, which makes me wonder why these issues have received little to no coverage in the media. Equipment shortages are bad enough at times that Amtrak resorts to using some of their long-distance fleet, like their Amfleet 2s seen here, to fill in when available. Just a few years ago, this would have been a very uncommon sight that today has become a regular occurrence. Amtrak's issues with Siemens are not new. The Siemens Charger SC44 locomotives that were supposed to replace Amtrak's aging GE P42s have already been in service on Midwest trains for several years, and their equivalents are currently being phased in on long-distance trains, but reliability has been poor to say the least. Despite several years of service, these new engines continue to face teething issues of their own that lead to headlines like this. Reliability during cold weather has been notably bad for the Chargers, often running the pool of available motive power dry and making winter cancellations all too common. However, just before the new year in 2022, we witnessed a rare treat as P42 number 55 stepped in to lend a helping hand during the holidays. We caught the engine charging through Chelsea with a friendly engineer at the helm. next day, we caught number 55 once again in Ann Arbor as it trailed on Amtrak train number 350. It's all too ironic that the locomotives the new Siemens Chargers were supposed to replace a few years ago are now stepping in for their broken down replacements. Amtrak recently placed a massive new order for their new Aero trains from Siemens, which will ultimately replace the majority of Amtrak's aging fleet. Time will tell if Amtrak and Siemens can solve their reliability issues, but with the current state of the new Siemens equipment, it's hard not to worry for the future, and wonder why Amtrak continues to invest in seemingly unreliable trains.